Good afternoon, everybody. Mother Goose here with the Cannabis Show by Read the People. So glad you can join us today. Look, I'm popping in and out. How funny is that? Today we get to join my friend, Sean Merritt. Sean and I have been friends for about 15 years, and he has been an amazing activist out here in California for wounded veterans, for Second Amendment, for all the veterans who are being denied or were being denied gun permits. What was the other one?
Cannabis,
And,
of course.
and so, anyways, he's just done some amazing things. We worked together a lot for a long time, and today's actually the first day that we've been back in the same room together after doing all that work so many years ago. Sean and I kind of had our lives go in different ways, and we just recently got reconnected. And I want to bring you this story. This is a story of Sean's injury, his fight with the VA, and his final redemption that came about because of the Mission Act that came through Trump, and also because of Doug LaMalfa, who assisted Sean and quite a number of vets to get their medical things finally taken care of outside of the VA, and the gaslighting and the oppression and the just dirty stuff that they were doing. So Sean's been wanting to get this story off of his chest for quite a long time. And I understand
4 years now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I understand that you tried to, we all had a lot of media contacts back in the day.
Of
And
course. They used to love me. I mean, they loved me to death when I was doing the 215 stuff, and when I was on their side, when they could say that, oh, he kind of leans left. Oh, they loved me then.
yeah.
The minute they see you're standing against BLM or Antifa, that they bust in here from San Francisco.
Oh,
And they put in the paper that you're a racist, that you're this, that, and all that kind of stuff. But that's more towards the end of the story. I think we should probably start at the beginning, don't you?
Right. Well, we're going to start with Doug LaMalfa. We're going to start with that beautiful little commercial that you did for him.
That was an outstanding day. It really was. I had a lot of fun doing that. He actually had me on to do another veterans video before. And me, I went up there with my tie-dyed shirt, my hair all long, and needless to say, they didn't use me for that one. They thought I was a big stinking leftist hippie, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I have to say it. I was a JFK Democrat. And
exactly. And I mean, that was when the Democratic Party still represented the people. And
right.
Now,
a disabled veteran that lives in Reading.
We hit go, so let's go.
When it's time to stand up for America, our military and our veterans, we're the first ones to answer the call. Sometimes we get injured. For the past 15 years, I've had to walk on this cane. Because of the Mission Act that passed last year, I was able to go get help outside of the VA system, get the surgery I needed, and now
I love that part.
I can stand on my own. And I'm making the choice to stand with Doug. I'm asking you to stand with him too. Let's keep the North State great.
Something y'all couldn't see, and that is when I chucked that cane, I was about maybe this close to hitting this guy and his dog that were playing frisbee. So,
oh my God,
luckily he was cool about it. They didn't mind too much, but yeah, it was fun.
Hey.
That was a fun day, and I mean to be able to, at least do something back for Doug after everything that they've done, not just for me. And I mean, believe me, his office there has gone above and beyond when I've had issues. But it's not just me that they help out. I mean, there's plenty of other veterans the ones who were in the other video I did with him.
Oh, absolutely.
And then there's the ones that don't want to come out and be a part of anything like that. He still does something for them. I mean, his office really has done a lot, and I mean a lot, to stand up for veterans in this area. So I'm very proud to be asked to do that, and I'd do it again. Heartbeat.
Absolutely. And I was absolutely thrilled that Trump put that Mission Act through.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing about that Mission Act, and this is what a lot of people don't know, a lot of people are confused about. But as somebody who has dealt with the VA now for almost 20 years, I can tell you all about it. Now, before the Mission Act, Bernie Sanders, Bernie tried to put through something called the Choice Program for veterans at the VA. Now, essentially, it would have done the same thing that the Mission Act does, but there was one big caveat to, it working properly. And that is that the VA, some bureaucrat in the office there would say, oh, well, this procedure is going to cost too much. We're just going to deny it. So even if your doctor okayed for you to be able to go outside the VA and see whoever you want to see.
So the bean counter is still at the fine.
The bean counter is the one that said, no, we're not going to do it. And it happened to me two times. And then, when the Mission Act came through, actually, Doug's office is the one that called me and notified me about it, that it had passed through and everything. And it's no issue with the Mission Act. Mission Act, the doctor says, okay, you can see somebody out in the community. Community care calls you up and says, have you got a doctor you want to see? If not, here's this, and this. And that's as far as it goes. And they pay for every bit of it. And when I had my surgery that I needed to get done finally, I said, all right, I get to pick my own doctor. You all have caused me all these years of fucking pain and heartache. Guess what? I'm picking the best one in the country. Fremont, California. You're sending me there.
And that's why you got the kind of results that you got.
That doctor I had, Bill Brown the third. Now, when you go into a doctor and he's got the third at the end of his name, this classy guy, he knows what he's doing, right? So I get in there and he's got jerseys up on his wall from, San Jose Sharks, from San Francisco 49ers. This is all he's done his whole career.
Wow. So he worked on the athletes today.
He sports hernia is the area that he specializes in. So when it comes to any type of hernias, when it comes to mesh removal, which is what my issue was, and repairing it in a way that it doesn't cause you long-term damage, the way he does it is so much better than what doctors are being taught to do today with mesh. And that mesh, absolutely horrible stuff. It shouldn't be in anybody's body. But we're getting ahead of ourselves again.
Well, you take the lead on that. I can follow.
We should probably start at the beginning then, right?
Let's go to the beginning. We're going to go back.
What caused the injury in the first place, right? Is that where we're going to go?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I enlisted, it was the first part of 2004, early part. I wanted to get in sooner. After 9/11 happened, anybody that was alive, they could tell you just the patriotism and the sense of unity that just swept over everybody in the country. And I was one of them. I come from a big military family. Both my grandparents served. I had one was a lieutenant commander in the Navy, flew every kind of airplane you can imagine. He flew it. Got shot down sometimes, didn't get caught, unlike McCain.
Unlike McCain.
And then you have my other grandfather, Master Chief of Coast Guard. He went down in a plane crash, got promoted to the highest you can get in the Coast Guard, retired next day. He was retired Coast Guard. So, like I said, I come from a military family. So when this happened, it was okay. It's my turn now. It's time for me to go do what I got to do. Unfortunately, I had some things to settle with the state of Virginia, namely probation for a plant that nobody should be put on probation for.
You mean you were a plant felon?
Yeah. Well, not a felon, thankfully. Misdemeanor, yes. But anyway, we get that settled. I finally get in, and there's a part in basic training where you've got to simulate a dead man's carry, because if your battle buddy gets hit, you're there next to him. You got to be the one to pick him up and drive on and get him somewhere he can get help. Right. Of course, I get paired with the biggest fucking corn-fed Georgia boy that is there in basic training, and again, I'm only like 5'8", $160, $170. This guy's like 6'5", 320 pounds. So
12 feet tall. He was Nephilim.
I'm getting him up on my back, and as soon as I lifted him up like this in a fireman's carry, I felt this tear, and it was, like a stabbing tear. It was just hot. It was, oh my God, what the hell have I done? So I get him up anyway. I finished the drill, do what I got to do. I go to sick call the next day. And by then I've got this bulge here, and they're like, oh, no doubt about it, you got a hernia. And they said, you probably haven't. And again, I hadn't been as physically active as I was. I went into the military right out of high school when I was playing sports and everything. So I had 3 years to sit around and get fat and get soft. My muscles aren't.
They were gonna fix that
They,
for
they,
you,
they
huh?
weren't what they used to be, you know? So of course they say I got this hernia and they say you got two choices. They said we can operate on you right now, but you're going to get recycled through, but you got to stay here on post while you heal up, you know, but you're going to have to start basic training over again, or you can just wait till you get to your duty station. And me, I'm not going to get recycled through. And also there's a chance that if something goes wrong, and it happens in basic, you're not technically a soldier till you finish basic and AI.
Right.
So you're not going to get any kind of benefits if they fuck up or screw you up sometime. So I said, nope, I'm just going to do what I got to do, and went up misery, heartbreak, and agony with.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and those are the name of the hills at Fort Knox that you go up when you do your 20-mile ruck march.
Oh my God.
And the whole time I'm doing this, my intestines are popping out and hanging in my ball sack. It looked like I had 3 nuts. So I'm pushing.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm pushing that hernia in, and I'm ruck marching and doing what I got to do. And the whole time I'm just keeping my focus on my feet. Sooner or later, my feet are going to be done walking. And that's all I kept telling myself to fighting the pain out. And boys around me were just, oh my God, I'm done. I've had it. You know, they were freaking out on this ruck march. Hey, keep your head down and keep moving forward. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
You know, sooner or later, it's going to end. When it
It
ends,
will. I mean, that's how I
it's
go
gonna
through
end.
life.
That's right. That's
You know,
the
when you
motto
get
for
to a
life.
hard time, you
That
just
is. You
plow
gotta keep
through
them
it.
feet moving forward. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
So anyway, get through basic, get through AIT. I get to my duty station at Fort Polk, Louisiana, which another one of the Democrat great ideas. They've renamed that to Fort Johnson now, not Fort Polk, because Fort Polk is racist, I guess.
Oops.
So anyway,
So many sacred cows.
yeah. No. This 24K, good shit. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
I get there.
I'll enjoy that with you.
Go ahead. So anyway, I get there and get my surgery scheduled for January 19th, 2005. Oh, God, I hate that day. To this day, I hate January 19th. If there's any days I get fucked up beyond all recognition, it is on January 19th every year.
Bar.
So,
Well, now it's a stepping stone, Sean. Now it's a stepping stone. You know, you've
maybe, but still, it's kind of like Frodo at the end of the Lord of the Rings, you know, where every year, on the anniversary where he got stabbed by that blade or whatever, all the pain comes back. The one that's mental and physical pain.
I really do,
Yeah.
but you know, sometimes I have to force things into that, the stepping stone myself. You know, I mean,
I
some
got you.
some trials in life are just
Oh no! Listen, and don't get me wrong. I mean, before I continue with this story, I meant to say that at the beginning. This isn't a wah poor me story. This isn't
you're
oh
that kind
God,
of guy.
I want sympathy. No, I don't need or want your sympathy. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to educate people on exactly what happens to veterans when they get hurt, when they go through not just the VA medical system, but the government active duty healthcare system. And again, not all doctors in the military is bad. It's all some good
Right,
ones.
of course.
Navy's got excellent corpsmen, but there's a lot of shitbags who get dings on their civilian record, and the first thing they'll go do, go sign up for the service, or they'll go to the VA and be a VA doctor because the government's going to overlook that they can't work in the civilian sector right now. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves again. So
Yeah.
January
Bring us back,
19th.
Sean. Bring us back to where we need to be.
January 19th. I go in for surgery. I'm told you're going to have 2 weeks to heal up, which seemed a little bit off for me because ilioinguinal hernia repair, average time is 4 to 6 weeks. They gave me 2 weeks. They said 2 weeks, you'll be back in the motor pool, bending wrenches, you'll be running, you'll be doing all the soldiering shit that you need to do.
What?
Yep, 2 weeks.
Soldier up, boy, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Here's some Motrin and some water. Get over it. So I come back from convalescent leave and I start noticing, you know, I'm trying to run, I'm trying to do what I need to do. And it's just stabbing pain and it does not go away. I can't really describe it because it changes so many times. It's a hot stabbing pain, and then I'd get to where I'd feel like electricity shooting in my thigh.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like,
I've seen your pictures.
And I'm like, what's going on with my leg? And then at the end of the day, I'd get home, you know, back to the barracks. I'd lay in bed and my my whole thigh would just, I mean, it would tremble, it would shake, it wouldn't stop. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what in the hell is going on? So by April of that year, I got to the point where I was trying to run and do PT again. My whole leg just went out from under me, and I
Oh
fell
my
on my
God.
face and scraped my whole face up here. And I'm like, okay, something's definitely way wrong compared to what this guy. Oh, you'll be back to business in 2 weeks. Yeah, no, something's up. Okay.
Right.
So I go to the doctor there, and another thing about VA healthcare is they really make it a pain in the ass for you to say, hey, I want a different doctor. They do on active duty anyway. I don't know if how that's changed. I know it's changed a little bit in the VA. It's easier to get a new doctor if you got issues with the one you got. But
Yeah. But
back then it wasn't like that. But back then you're stuck with what
they ease this up
yeah.
a little here and tighten it up
Yeah.
over here. And so you're still just wrestling and not getting care.
Well, here's the thing. When you got this doctor who says, and believe me, you can check this guy's records yourself, Andrew Shapiro in Florida. And I've looked him up and he's got dings on his civilian record now. I mean, putting stents in the wrong places, that kind of thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this guy, oh, I didn't do anything wrong with your surgery. I did everything right. I think you're just faking it. Now, anybody out there who's military, there's one word you never want to get tagged with if you're in, the military.
Yeah.
And that's being called a malingerer. Once they call you a malingerer means they think you're faking to get out of doing duty. And they will, the squeaky wheel will definitely get the greased in. And by getting the grease, I mean, they're going to put it to you. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I've heard the military's gone a lot kinder and softer than when it was when I was in. But when I was in, no. If they thought you were faking, I mean, they'd throw your shit.
Well, unfortunately, they're a little kinder and softer because half the damn generals are wearing dresses now. Right?
That's right.
That's another subject.
Yeah, that's another subject.
That's a different day.
But and again, they'd come in, they'd throw your shit in your room in dumpsters. You'd have to crawl in there every night and get it out. They'd put you on extra duties at night, 24-hour shifts or things when you're supposed to have the next day off, bring you back in. That's just to give you sleep deprivation.
So this is the penalty for being a
They call it,
malingerer?
and then it gets worse because then they send people in your room to give you a little party when you're asleep and they think that you're drunk and passed out. And again, you have two choices there too. You can either put your head down and look at your feet and just keep moving forward, or you can give in to what they want you to do and give them an excuse to put you out shit paper. Now, once they put you out shit paper, you're disqualified from getting all your benefits again. So I didn't have a choice. I sat there and ate it for a year and a half, a whole year and a half, whatever they came up with.
That's an
try to do
amazing
to me.
testimony, Sean, because
And I mean, they did everything they could do. They did everything they could do to make me either check myself out, like 22 veterans a day do, or go off the wall so they had an excuse to put me out, shit paper.
And what a testimony also that you were disciplined and aware enough to know that was what was happening and to be able to do some art of war, Sun Tzu, appear weak, and let it pass.
Appear weak, that's right. And I mean, sometimes it's better to be thought weak, so, and then they'll they left me alone during work hours. I'll put it to you that way, because hey, he can't do nothing anyway. So I was really a fly on the wall getting to observe how shit really goes down,
Yeah.
But my thing was that it wasn't any at that time. The only thing I was thinking is I'm not going to let these fucking bastards win. That was the only thing going through my head. I'm not going to let them win. I don't care how long I got to do this. They are not going to fucking beat me.
That's right.
So when I finally did get medical boarded out, and again, I had to go through a year of pain management in Fort Sam. I had to get this other doctors to say, look, this guy isn't faking. Something's really going on here. Even though that other doctor still, he refused it. Look, I did everything the right way, the way I'm supposed to do it, and all this kind of bullshit.
And all his buddies backed him up.
His buddies backed him up, of course.
Yeah.
They had me fucking stripped naked, do duck walks around. Oh, you can do that. You're fine. Ain't nothing wrong with you. I'm like, what? That's the way they.
There's something you're not paying attention to here, guys. You're protecting each other and enjoying this.
Yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. You
Yeah.
know, and that really showed me how the elite really are, because everything is a microcosm for something else. It really is.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And there's other things that happen in the military too. I mean, I had buddies that went to Iraq and Afghanistan, and they'd tell me stories about how there's something permitted over there called bakabazi. I don't know if your viewers will know what that is. Military guys probably will, but it literally
Say it again.
bakabazi. It
Okay.
literally translates into boy play. And this is what our allies, not the Taliban outlawed this shit, just like they outlawed the growing of poppies,
Yeah.
you know. But it literally translates into boy play, and there's plenty of
Oh,
people,
crap.
plenty of people in the military who got kicked out of the military for stopping our fucking allies from abusing children.
You know,
And
that's something else that
any
needs
of
to
you
come
all,
to light.
any
Yeah.
of you all can Google what I'm saying right now. Or duck, go at whatever search engine you use. But you can type in Bakabazi soldier kicked out. Just search that. You'll see what I'm talking about. But this is the kind of shit that happens.
No, I've heard of this.
And
I've heard of it because, you know, in our world and that we came up in, that's
There is
a
nothing
sin.
there-
I mean, they just, you
there's
know,
nothing more disgusting
than children, than
than
getting after
abusing
children.
children, abusing the elderly, abusing animals, little animals.
Yeah,
No, that's some sick psychopath shit.
right.
You do that kind of shit, no. And there's no excuse for it. And believe me, I've lost plenty of friends recently because I ask them if they think it's okay to mutilate children, like what's going on in a lot of places. And they tell me they don't see nothing wrong with it. You don't see nothing wrong with it. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
You ain't my
What
friend
the
anymore.
bleep,
Bye.
bleep,
You know what?
okay?
And I'm not gonna shed any tears about it. If you honestly are on that side of the argument where you think it's
We are
okay,
not the same.
we are not the same
same,
person. I don't
and
want
I'm-
to. No, I don't want to be anywhere near you.
None.
Get the fuck away. So anyway,
That doesn't make, will never be okay in my head. There's nothing in the
No.
world that could happen.
there's no way you could phrase it, put it. No,
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 never, never.
no. So, but again, that showed me, well, if our elite really behave like this, and these are our allies, it's probably not just happening here. But again, I'm getting on to another part. I think we've pretty much covered the beginning. Now we need to get to the middle. That's where
Okay.
I finally got med boarded out of the military. Came home 2006, got a job as a recruiter. Again, I tried to do something. You know, I had to pay bills just like everybody else. You know, and the whole time I'm waiting to get into the VA because from what I understood it, you know, when you get out, bam, you just go right to the VA, you know. Everything
It's so seamless, huh?
everything is just seamless. It transfers right over. That ain't how it went. I finally got my letter in the middle of 2007. Remind you, I got out in 2006 and said, "We see you're a recently returning veteran. We need to get you into the VA." I'm like, it's been a year and a half.
Oh my God.
How recent is recently and you all's fucking, you know? So again, and thankfully I was on a lot of mesh chat boards at the time because there's a lot of other people that this mesh has completely ruined their lives. I mean, completely ruined it. And I saw a
You're
doctor,
talking about the physical mesh that they
the
use
mesh from the surgery.
in the
correct.
surgery, right?
Right. Damn, I forgot to say that part. The reason why I had that hernia, or you know, I told them that, but how they fix it is they put this mesh patch into where your tear is, and they kind of suture it up to you. But the
Yeah.
thing is that mesh, and we'll get into more about it in a little bit, but that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to stick right here over wherever the tear is.
And kind of,
and give you
protect it.
support for that area. Right. Okay. So I start going through and seeing the VA. I see this doctor that these people in the MASH group put me up with in Connecticut. Thankfully, he didn't charge me anything to see him, but he said, "I can tell you exactly what it is." He said, "That mesh has become distorted in you." He said, "They've cut nerves somewhere that they weren't supposed to cut. You need to have another surgery to get this, you know, repaired and taken care of." Now, this was in 2007.
And this is like homecoming after they had threatened you with the malingering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was after all that.
This
This
is
is me.
the
This is
final, you know, first
yeah,
confirmation that,
with the VA. I was
Yeah.
already out of dealing
Yeah.
with active duty doctors. I'm home now trying to deal with the VA. And again, like I said, I saw that civilian doctor who saw me for free. He was another specialist up there in Connecticut, Rhode Island, one of them places. But again, he said, this is what you need done. You need another surgery. So I take that letter with me when I finally get called into the VA to see my primary care and all that kind of shit. And I show it to them, and they don't want to do the surgery. Oh no, we got to do this test and this test and this test and this test first and this before we can okay you for surgery. So I'm like,
Okay.
Jesus fucking Christ. I got a letter here saying what I need to get done from an actual real fucking doctor. I didn't get it out of the Cracker Jack. But that's how the government
A
is.
specialist, not just some
Yeah, a
doctor.
specialist. This is what he does. His whole thing is hernia repairs. So this whole time, you know, I'm sitting there and again, trying to describe this daily pain to people is just,
People don't get it.
I could never explain it because people don't get it unless they go through it. I mean, it's
Especially in what we call invisible disabilities, you
Right.
know,
right.
there, if.
I mean, yeah, and a lot of people see a young guy on a cane and they're just like, wow, what the fuck's wrong with him? I know because I had plenty of people come up and say stupid shit like that to me. But anyway,
We'll
yeah.
get back to it.
So when you're on that cane, though, you know, people are looking at you like something's fucking wrong with him. But again, the VA, they want to be the same just as the fucking doctors in the military. Oh, we don't really think anything's wrong with this guy. Let's put him, make him jump through all these fucking hoops, you know? So around all this time, though, I decided I'm going to move out to California because, again, while I'm jumping through all these hoops for the fucking VA,
Right.
their answer for everything is, oh, we're just going to keep throwing pills at you. Throw this pill at you and this pill at you.
Oh, you
this
were
pill
really
at you.
sucked into the system.
Jesus.
Oh my
I
God.
gotta
So
tell you,
surgical
I
abuse and
I'll tell you,
pharmaceutical abuse.
well, when I was in the Army, they would throw me 90 Percocet and 120 Oxycontins every month. This was when I was in the Army.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, when I watch shows like Dope Sick or anything like that about how people get trapped on, you know, opioids, yeah, I get
Right.
that one too.
And which is why cannabis meant so much to
And
you.
that's exactly where I was
We're
getting.
almost there.
Yeah, because look, like I said, I'm in my shitty little apartment, and this was after I lost my job as a recruiter because I mean, I couldn't hack driving 15-hour days when it felt like I'm getting stabbed 24/7 in my side, you know.
Right.
So
You hit a wall.
yeah, I'm sitting there telling time by what pill I'm taking, just staring out my window, drooling on myself, and I'm like, well, this isn't any way to live.
No.
So when I had my moments of
Lucidity.
yeah, clarity, I decided to start researching and I found California at the time to be the best when it came to medical cannabis laws. And
Well, we're so glad you found us.
well,
Actually, you
now
and
I
I
have
found
too.
California at the same time,
with same year, I got out
the
here in
same
June,
month,
and you got out here in June too.
also in June.
All right.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
house closed on the 10th, and then Dennis flew out and we drove back with my stuff from Georgia, from
Georgia,
Merritt, Georgia,
Georgia.
where I lived for about 20 years. I
Yeah.
love Georgia.
I did too. My grandfather was from Lawrenceville.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know
We
where
went,
that is.
yeah, we went down there a few times when I was younger. He took me to Six Flags there and outside Lawrenceville. And
Right.
Yeah,
Well, but
right
but
outside of
still, they
Atlanta.
have horrendous cannabis laws even to
Yeah.
this day.
yeah,
I really sincerely thought about going back after my husband Dennis passed here 2 years ago during COVID. I really seriously thought about going back to stay with some friends in Georgia. In fact, one of them is co-host Tricia Jones. Hi, Tricia. But I couldn't take myself away from my complete medical care is cannabis.
yeah.
And that's the only reason.
Well, and that's my one hindrance about wanting to go to Texas is because Texas is still rather archaic with their cannabis laws as well.
Yeah.
I had also thought about
Well, I'm in a situation too where if I was not able to get cannabis, the only option available would be pharmaceuticals. And
or self-medicate with
can't
alcohol.
do that. And I can't do that either.
Yeah.
I can't do that either. I quit 29 years ago. I was just, it wasn't taking me where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So, you know, we both came, I came back because I raised my family in Santa Cruz, but we both came back in June of 2009. And that was right at the time when the Kelly decision
Oh yeah.
came about, and that was a California Supreme Court decision that said we can grow up to 99 plants with a doctor's recommendation.
Said that all limit laws are unconstitutional.
And, right. And so the cities and counties, actually the League of Cities, which came right up the middle of California after Eric Holder came back to California. And they started making these little ordinances that, that we couldn't grow again, and I remember them coming to the gates and saying, yeah, go, wait, you got it wrong. Kelly decision right here says I can grow up to 99 plants. And they said, you're right, you can, but you can't do it here.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is my house. This is where I live.
Or then they'd start saying, well, you got only have your canopy is this certain size, this many square feet, thereby being a workaround for how they could limit your plants. Because if they only say your canopy can be this size, some people can only grow one plant in that kind of canopy size that they were
well, I've
suggesting.
seen one plants that would outdo some gardens, so
yeah, me too. So I mean,
all
right, so we're going to put the medical issues on the back burner for a little bit, but I want your listeners to keep that part in mind, because I'm still doing all this, with my own health at the same time.
And you're not even here yet. You're just coming
just getting here.
Just getting to California.
At the time all this is getting ready to pop off. But I remember a few months after it's probably about when, October, November of 2009, I remember picking up the paper with, my girlfriend at the time. We were out to eat, and I read through it, and I saw how this, these ordinance issues were popping up at the city of Reading, and I was good sitting there eating breakfast where they're going, no, that's wrong, that's against the law. And again, this was just,
and they didn't care.
This was from my own research, because again, before I moved out, I knew the law like the back of my hand. Believe me, that was all I did, was sit around and just read the laws on cannabis on this
right. And go back and forth and do stuff with your buddy James Benno, who also did nothing but research cannabis.
We're getting ready to meet him too, because that first night that this happened, I'm just sitting there waiting for my turn to speak. And there's quite a few people that really impressed me when they got up there and spoke. He was one of them. But I'll never forget when I got done, I had so many people just coming up wanting to show, I can listen to you talk all day. And I mean, that was the last thing I was expecting. I was just expecting to get up there, say my piece, and that would be that, Yeah. But no, that wasn't the point. And I need to preface this part.
So we called you into service.
Well, hold on.
For the community.
Because this is the weird part. And again, this is before, and I get your listeners are probably going to think I'm nuts, but I'm a big believer in, the universe kind of speaks to you when it's time for you to make a decision.
I believe it too. So if you're nuts, we're both nuts. Go ahead.
It was either going to be here or Humboldt County for the places in California I was going to move. And I came out here in March of 2009, and I went across the street from the hotel I was staying at, the Red Lion there on Hilltop, to this little rinky-dink casino that they got there on Hilltop. I forget the name of it.
Little card room.
That little card room, yeah. Got talking to some people, and they gave me my first experience with medical grade cannabis. And that was just, you're used to growing up in Virginia where it looks like pine shats in the bag.
Ditchwing.
Yeah, schwiggity swag, the worst of it. And I got to the hotel room that night. I went to sleep, and I shit you not, Marcia, and then you listen, this is no joke. I had a dream that I was standing in front of people wearing a suit, talking about cannabis, talking about marijuana. And then I dreamed I was on Montel Williams' show talking to him about it. Now, I felt something was telling me that this is the place you need to be next. So when I get here, I get involved in all that. And then, of course, Marcia's got this video to show you all about me on the news. Again, like my dream, it came true. So, Marcia, you want to go ahead?
We can actually show this. This was, and keep talking, because it'll take me just a moment.
Now, this is
to pull it up.
This is right after we had, we met everybody. We got involved in creating our own normal chapter. I
don't think we actually even said that it was a normal chapter meeting that we were talking about.
Well, we started off as a few different things, our own little patient collectives and everything, before we actually decided, okay, let's get involved with normal. Hoping that they'd send some lawyers or something up here, to help us out with injunctions or whatever. But that wasn't the way that it turned out.
No, They're crooked too, actually. They got.
Yeah.
So let's see, let's go. This is Sean and some other community members talking about
Oh,
cannabis
And,
and,
and again, let's set this one up a little bit.
yeah, go ahead.
The way that this came about, if you remember, Marcia, we were having a meeting one night there in Anderson at the restaurant, and a couple
Okay.
guys came in and they said, "Look, we've tried to get our, our Second Amendment rights at Jones
Yeah.
Ford at the shop there."
Right.
But Jones was our mayor at the time. He also owned Jones Fort, which is the gun shop in town.
And he's a chairman of our board of supervisors
And now
today.
he is, and
Yeah,
he was very anti-marijuana back then. I don't know if he's changed his stance. I talked to him over the phone when he was running for the board of supervisors. It led me to believe something. Maybe he's coming around on it a little bit, but then I hear what he says in public nowadays, and I can't believe it.
you know, it's still a bone that they don't want to catch. And I don't even care because when Trump comes back, he wants federal medical legalized.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves again.
Yeah, but yeah, I hope everybody can follow us. We're crazy,
But that's so we had these two guys come in and they said Patrick Jones himself has denied us getting our Second Amendment rights. He said, because we've been at town hall, he knows that we're medical marijuana advocates. Thereby, he says, we know we smoke weed. Thereby, we can't legally sell us, guns or ammo. So when I heard this, I said, that's fucking bullshit. I'm going to do something about it.
Right, yeah.
So I
think he said that they couldn't coach you in the answer. You had to decide, and if you did it wrong,
well, that was the other place.
that could be
That
yeah.
that was the other place.
Yeah, it was a conversation.
That wasn't Jones Ford. That was another shop that said that, which we'll
Okay.
see that in the video.
Yeah.
But basically, this is how this come up. In my view, me being able to use medicine is not a disqualifier for me to give up anything in my Bill of Rights. Not any of it.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't lose one constitutional
My Bill of Rights,
right.
which just happened to have been printed on hemp paper by hemp smoking.
They are
fathers.
inalienable, which means you
Yes.
cannot take them from me for any reason.
Yes, you cannot put a lien on.
That's
them.
it. So
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
here it is.
This is KRCR News Channel 7 at 5:30.
California's Proposition 215 and the Second Amendment might be like oil and water. Walk into a gun dealer with your medicinal marijuana recommendation and see what happens. Good evening, I'm Mike Mangus.
I'm Carrie Marchese in for Jennifer Scarborough. Tonight, KRCR investigates a hot-button issue you may not know about: medical marijuana and the right to bear arms. If you have a Prop 215 card and you want to purchase a gun, you may have a fight on your hands, all thanks to one line on a federal form. We begin tonight with the story of Sean Merritt, a disabled veteran in Redding. When he first thought about purchasing a gun, it was a no-brainer. He's ex-military, a faithful taxpayer with a squeaky clean background. But a federal form stopped him right in his tracks, and ever since, he feels like a common criminal.
I moved out here to California since I got done fighting the VA and thought, okay, now I can finally rest up, prop my leg up, and heal up.
Little did Sean Merritt know a battle was brewing. But this fight, purchasing a gun.
I am a disabled vet, and I am on medications. I just want to check with you and make sure, that these medications won't prohibit me from bearing arms.
If you use medical marijuana, the answer might be yes. And that answer is the core of the problem.
Do you answer that question yes, or do you answer that question no?
We started our investigation at the gun shop, where Sean says he was denied the right to bear arms. Jones Fort in Redding. That's where we found this federal form by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Line E on the form is the brunt of Sean's problem. It reads, are you an unlawful user or addicted to marijuana or a depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance? Yes or no?
If the question is answered yes, then that prohibits you from buying firearms in the state of California.
They want you to either perjure yourself and lie, so that way they can get you, or they want you to go ahead and admit to it. That way they can't give you a gun.
Sean tells me he uses the medical marijuana to ease his hip pain. He has a Prop 215 card. He doesn't consider himself an unlawful user, nor does he consider himself addicted to marijuana. Therefore, why can't he just check no on the ATF form?
And if you fill the form out incorrectly, wrong, knowingly, that could be a felony.
But Sean says the government had no problem handing him a weapon to defend his country.
I've used the M16, I've used a saw, I've used the 203, I've used revolvers, I've used handguns. I don't want to be looked at as a criminal, and I don't think anybody should be for using something that helps them feel better.
We took Sean's concerns to the California Attorney General office. They issued this statement. California state law prohibits anyone who is addicted to the use of a narcotic drug from possessing firearms. However, marijuana is not considered to be a narcotic drug, and therefore nothing in state law prohibits a user of marijuana from purchasing a firearm. They went on to say they know of no cases involving whether a person with a Prop 215 card can be considered an unlawful user and not be allowed to purchase a gun.
As far as them answering it, they got to answer it the way they answer it. No coaching from us whatsoever.
For Sean, he's saying, I'm a war veteran. I have a disability and I defended my country. I used 7 different guns in the Army and now I can't protect my property.
But he is using marijuana. My recommendation, don't use marijuana. It's not good for you. Smoking is not good for you.
After his experience with Jones Fort, Sean still hasn't got a gun. But he says he has new ammo to fight with.
I took my oath to swear and defend the Constitution. I might not be able to do it for the Army anymore, but I can still do it for the people.
We spoke to the U.S. Attorney's Office to get the Fed's position on this issue. They said at this point they can't comment because it's an issue already being investigated. Meanwhile, Sean is taking up the issue at tonight's City Council meeting in Reading. We'll let you know what happens.
All right, before you ask me any
Oh,
questions.
yeah. No, the worst was I was too eager. I have to.
Uh-oh.
That's a different interview.
All right,
Go ahead.
before we get any further in this, a few things. Number one, I sat there with that Carrie or whatever her name was, and showed her all my medical records and said, look, it's not hip pain, it's neurological, it's neuropathic pain. What's she do when she gets on there? Hip pain. And Mike Mangus, he's about the biggest clown in the news I think I've ever met. I've got plenty that I could say about him that I'm going to choose not to say right now.
Yeah, at this moment.
Third, maybe you remember this. I remember it very clearly, but Patty Jones, when he sat there and said, don't smoke, smoking's bad for you. 2 weeks after this came out, they were having a vote here at our town hall if they wanted to ban any kind of smoking on the property. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And guess who showed up with his big old pipe and said, oh, I think it's un-American that we're taking smoking rights away from people? Patrick Jones, the guy who just said on the news that smoking's bad for you. He's about to clown sometimes, ain't he?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We have good people trying to be politicians and, having to dance around. Even Trump had to dance around some sacred cows.
Well, there's that, but I mean,
we have a big, huge senior population here, and a lot of those people are still, and I mean, really, reefer madness people.
well, you got to play the game.
You got to do some of that. Yeah. But I know, duly noted what you said.
I just, there's being a politician and then there's being a real leader for the people. And a real leader for the people, in my opinion, is himself 100% of the time. He's not going to change who he is. Hey, this is what you got. This is who I am. Either get behind me and let's go do this, or, get out of the way.
Absolutely.
So, but I think there was a fourth one I wanted to mention, but get talking about Patty Jones. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, we've been also indulging, just so everybody knows. And my
weed
graphics
doesn't kill
card
any
is
brain cells. Neither is this Lagavulin. Now come on.
your favorite.
Age
My
16
graphics
years.
card is going out. I don't know why I keep zooming in and out as a ghost, but we decided to continue. So,
Of course.
sorry to everybody.
I
for all
got
the
plenty left to
flashing.
drink. We got five jars here of smoke. We can keep going as long as it
We can
takes.
go for hours.
Virginia can, that's for sure. Oh, come on.
Right?
Anyway,
Go ahead.
so where were we at story wise?
Boy, which story?
We had just got done with me on the news
Well,
here, exposing
say-
Patrick Jones a little bit.
I saw your wrap up on that video, and you said I may not be able to do it for the Army anymore. but I can still do it for we the people.
Mhm.
And, that's why you've been one of my favorite warriors, because you have always worked for we the people and you've never succumbed to the sacred cows.
It means a lot, Marcia. And I mean, that's one thing that kind of, when you get in politics, even something as small as small town, marijuana legalization or medical, issues like that, and you really step your feet in the pool and you see people who were there and they claim to be there for this reason and they talk up a good game and they're here for all the right reasons. And, and then you get to find out that they're really in it for the money, or they're in it for notoriety, or they're in it for, this and this.
Well, once the money gets flowing, I think a lot of these people get into it well-meaningly, and then they end up taking these grants, and these grants have conditions,
Well, there's not only that, but I mean, and this is something I think I remember the board talking about for normal, was how do we pay ourselves for being on the board here? And there were ideas floating around that, hey, any of the shops that are involved, if they wanted to donate, money from their shops, and we take it in and say, okay, we've donated it, and then we wanted to pay the members of the board with it. That's still technically by California law at the time. I mean, they were taking money from their shop and reinvesting it back into their business because we were the ones who were fighting for their businesses to stay open, But to me,
and even before paying for salaries, there was always the printing costs, the advertising costs.
right. But to me, that becomes a whole other beast, because then to me, it was like, okay, well, basically what that idea pertains to is that we're going to launder money from the shops to pay ourselves. And a lot of the people who were also on the board, they own shops. So it was like, okay, well, I can see how this is good for you all. You all are getting your money back and then some, And Hillary Kreiner, I wonder what she's up to today. I love her to death. But she actually gave me the nickname of the Incorruptible. She was like, you're 100% incorruptible. Just, so that kind of tied into what you were saying. Me, I do.
Well, that's your flex, Sean.
Well,
That's your flex.
It is, but
and it's not an easy, when you're walking as a spiritual, social justice warrior. And
don't call me that, because no,
I hate that term because it's been tied to bullshit.
No, I am the farthest thing from an SJW that you're ever going to.
Yeah, that was a bad choice of words.
But my thing, but see, this is why.
But you want the common man to win, not as a group of people, but just as the common man.
Yes, and that includes the common women. That I have always.
Of course.
I'm from Virginia, and our greatest president, in my opinion, Thomas Jefferson, when he passed laws in the Constitution, it was always to look out for the yeoman farmer. The yeoman farmer being the common man, the common woman. Not the elite, not the rich, not the people who don't know what it's like to suffer and go through hell on earth.
Right. Well, that all came. 1871, 1776, you start talking about the corporation and life changed.
But we're getting into something else now. But my thing is,
we'll do that one day too.
Sure, we can do it after this part at the end, because I'm telling you, at the end of this is when we're really going to start lighting up the stuff like you're talking about right there. But anyway,
up there.
So, you got me thrown off now. I forgot where I was. What were we talking about there?
Well, I was complimenting, your incorruptibility.
There we go. That's right.
That's a warrior of integrity.
Thank you for this is why I don't like labels, good or bad. In my opinion, to label me is to negate me.
It takes away, but we're communicating over.
Right. But I'm just saying, for me personally, I don't like any kind of label. I'm just Sean. I'm just Sean Merritt. I do what I do.
Exactly. I
feel a need. I feel a drive sometimes that, hey, this is, time for you to get off your ass and do something. Because if you don't, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. If you just sit back, they're going to keep doing worse and worse shit to you. And then you're going to be on the cattle car wondering why you didn't stand up and do something about it.
Amen.
So But there's that. And then believe it or not, Marcia, I caught a lot of flack for that video that we just watched from people who are like, now you're making it harder for all of us that do own weapons, you know, and our patients, because now we're going to have an extra microscope that we're under. And again, if that's how they see it, and I can kind of see their point there, at the same time, it's like what I just said.
It was something that had to be addressed because
It's like I just said, these are our rights. They have no right to take our rights. And if you just want to sit back and let them trample on you and not say anything about it, that's your business. If you want to come out and make your voice heard and actually do fucking something, come out and do that. But don't be a damn armchair quarterback sitting back in the shadows thinking that you're going to tell me how to run me. I run me. You don't run me. Okay.
and you be you.
Hey, no, but I mean, hey, it was not my intention to put patients and 2A believers under the microscope at all. But again, if you don't stand up when they try to take your rights, they're not going to stop. They're going to take everything to you. Literally living in a pod and eating the bugs, because that's what they want.
I do the same thing, Sean. Let's beg the question. Let's beg it right now.
All right.
Let's get something done.
Let's go. So I think we've reached the end of that part. And I mean, that went on for shit. How long were we fighting that? Couple of years, 2 or 3 years?
Oh, yeah.
And then they finally came down and they had succeeded briefly in closing down all the shops. Briefly. And I want to express that briefly, because no sooner had they done that, statewide, everything became legalized again. And by legal, I mean legal. Like go into the shop, get your edibles, get everything you want. They can't restrict it, you know, anything like that. Although I think they did try to make that a county issue, didn't they? Where counties could say no to legalization, no to shops. Or once it became legal, was it just?
You know, they talked about so many things. I'm not exactly sure.
That was so many years ago for us. I mean, a lot of you out there, especially in Virginia, y'all just become legal, you know. So these are issues that are probably going to happen to you down the road. Maryland too. Maryland just became legal July 1st. Congrats to Maryland, man. It makes me so happy to know that the places I grew up and escaped from because of archaic laws have finally come around and they're, you know, doing the right thing. I got to go home and visit now that it's all green. See how things are.
Right. And please learn from our mistake.
There you go.
And as Sean was just saying, one of our biggest mistakes was when you see that beast coming, and I'm talking about all the little regulations, they're going to try and make it next to impossible unless they get paid. But when you see all those little ordinances and codes and stuff like that, stand up.
Go to your town hall.
Say no. Go to your board of supervisor meeting.
Go to your town halls. Go to your county board of supervisors. Look, all it takes is you standing up and making your voice heard, and you don't know what's going to come afterwards. You know, you might be in a position where you can actually affect real change and help a lot of people. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's on you to do it. Nobody can do it for you. Get off your ass, do something.
And if we don't do it, our kids are going to have to do it, and they don't know how.
Nope.
They have they can't have kids peeing in kitty litter boxes in their classrooms. We have to do this. We're the last generation prepared to turn things back right again.
There's an old saying: those who make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. And there's no bigger atrocity happening right now, or no bigger absurdity. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But remind me at the end to come back to this.
Okay.
What they're doing to kids. It's absolutely criminal. It's sick. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, tell you what, let's have a break for just a minute. I'm not sure exactly how long we've been going, but we can stop for just a moment and we will be right back.